folks, the Rage Monkeys here to tell you about a trip that we took to Dry Tortugas National Park. This was our last full day of our Southern Florida adventure. During the few days that we spent in Southern Florida, we visited Biscayne National Park. We took a ride on an airboat ride in the Everglades. We then visited the Everglades for a full day and stayed overnight. Then we took a mini road trip down through the Florida Keys before spending some nights at the Jackson Sawyer Boy Scout Camp. We also spent a full day at Key West. If you'd like to hear about these other adventures, please check out my YouTube channel. But on to Dry Tortugas National Park. All right, it is chicken time. 6:30 in the morning. Getting ready to go to Dry Tortugas. And the chickens are awake. Hear those rooster crow. Since Dry Tortugas National Park is located 70 miles to the west of Key West, out in the Gulf of Mexico, the only way to get there is either by boat or seaplane. We chose to take the Yankee Freedom ferry boat to reach Dry Tortugas. We checked in, got our bracelets, got our boarding group numbers, and it was time to get on the boat. The ferry ride includes a light breakfast, bagels, cream cheese, fruit, coffee. It's a 2-hour ride, so you could take a nap or just head out to the deck and enjoy the scenery. I read ahead of time that some people got a little seasick on the way out to Dry Tortugas. We weren't going to take any chances, so we took some Dramamine. None of us had any problems, but it was a pretty smooth trip for us.
As you swim along the moat wall, you'll be able to see the coral growing off of the wall. You'll be able to see all the fish living in the cracks and crevices. What do you have the opportunity to see today? Well, you can see sharks, might see sea turtles, might see an eel, might see squid. You might see giant spiny Caribbean lobster. That's right, there's lobster out there that are 1.5 feet long. There are jacks, lays, snappers, all the little Finding Nemo tropical fish. All of that you might see today. Can't guarantee you'll see any of it, but I will guarantee you'll probably see something.
My hair's going crazy. Sure is. My hat's going crazy. Before we knew it, Fort Jefferson at Dry Tortuga National Park was in our line of sight. You could feel the excitement growing on the boat the closer we got. The deck started filling up with people too. Everyone wanted to get their first glimpse of this amazing place. Time to get off the boat. Here we are, Dry Tortugas National Park. There it is. I hope we're not walking into somebody. Fort Jefferson is ginormous. It is made out of bricks and it's the largest fort in, the largest masonry fort in the Americas. It was built starting around 1846, and it was built to protect the Gulf of Mexico. They worked on it for over 30 years and used more than 16 million bricks. It's actually one of the largest brick buildings in the Western Hemisphere. The design of the fort is a hexagon with walls that are over 8 feet thick in some places. It was meant to be an impenetrable fortress, and it was built to hold 450 guns and 1,500 soldiers. However, it was never actually completed. Due to some logistical challenges and changes in military technology, they just never finished it. So there was more powerful cannons that came along, and it made a brick fortress like this obsolete. So eventually they just halted the construction and left it partially built, and that's what's there today. So the fort has had quite a history. It served as a military prison during the Civil War, and one of its most famous prisoners was Dr. Samuel Mudd. He was imprisoned for his role in the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. He's the one who helped John Wilkes Booth, the Lincoln's assassin, by treating his broken leg. So because this fort is so far out into the middle of nowhere, it was an ideal place to hold prisoners. Kind of hard for them to swim back to shore. Inside the fort, there is so much to see. There was lots of passages and hidden nicks with rooms to peek our heads into. We did explore some of the courtyard first, and then we walked through some of the first floor before heading up one of the spiral staircases to the second level, and then finally up to the top of the fort. From there, you get this incredible panoramic view of not just the fort, but the surrounding ocean. It was honestly just breathtaking. Just the color of the water and just how much you could see. It would be an amazing place to get to watch a sunset, which we didn't get to do, but you can do that if you're feeling really adventurous. There is camping that you can do in the national park outside of the fort. When we were there, the camping area and one of the beaches were both closed because they were repairing that area of the moat wall. But still, the idea of getting to spend the night out there, I bet it's so dark and so many stars, and just such a cool historic place like that would be remarkable. Okay, we just finished walking around the fort here. Fort Jefferson. We opted not to do the guided tour. We just kind of walked around, explored ourselves, and now we're going to head back over to our ship and get lunch off the ship. They have Jersey Mike subs, some chips, big drinks, cookie. I like cookies. So we are off to eat some food, and then it is time for swimming and snorkeling. Always remember the sunscreen. After lunch, we walked on over to the beach for some swimming and snorkeling. We had brought our own snorkeling gear, but you did have the option of using theirs. The water here was so calm and blue, and the temperature was like perfectly refreshing. We found the best spots along the walls, and over there we spotted some snails, some tiny little crabs, and a few fish. Honestly, after all the hype I had read and the rangers' talk on the ferry to the park, I was expecting to see more underwater life. It seemed like it might have just been like an off day for snorkeling, because a lot of other people also mentioned that there was a lack of wildlife too. But, you know, sometimes it's just how it goes. I saw like 2 fish. One of my kids, he had never tried snorkeling before, mainly because he's not a big fan of the ocean waves or even swimming. But he absolutely loved the calm water here, and it was so clear. And the snorkeling life vests that we had, which let us just kind of float around without worrying about like sinking. It was just such a relief and made the experience so enjoyable for him. did a little bit of snorkeling. After we were in Mexico, just really not as good, but we did see some fish. We were on the north beach. The south beaches are currently closed because they're fixing the moat. Over there, there was a breach in the moat. I think that's Greg up there. But over here by this wall, we saw lots of little hermit crabs, and kids said they saw crabs. I couldn't find them. And I saw a bunch of fish eventually. So the one I know is called a Sergeant Major. The other ones, I have no idea. They were pretty. It was just so relaxing to sit there and enjoy this amazing view. Wait, that was not the view that I wanted. Totally photobombed. Let's try this again. I could have spent like the whole day just bobbing up and down in that crystal clear turquoise water. It was really amazing. Knowing what I know now, I probably would have spent less time snorkeling, especially since there wasn't much to see, and more time just soaking in the beauty of the space that we were in. It was just such a beautiful experience, and I'm so glad that I got to do this with my family. The time to head back to Key West came way too soon. I mean, we were a little bit tired and kind of hungry too, so we did buy some snacks at the on the boat. Pretty soon we could see Key West coming into view on the horizon, and then we were pulling up to the really populated marina. We got off the boat, stopped at our car to stash some of our things, and then headed into Key West to find something to eat. And no, we did not eat this wild chicken family. We found something else to eat. We went to Eaton Street Seafood Market. They had lots of things to choose from. Some seafood tacos, fried shrimp, but mostly we went for the lobster roll because someone in our family happens to really love lobster roll. As we walked back to our car, we found one more dog we needed to meet, because we need to meet all the dogs. We drove back to Camp Jackson Sawyer on Big Pine Key where we were staying. It was our last night on our southern Florida adventure. The trip was coming to a close, but we had a great time. The next morning, we drove up to Miami, had time for one last airport margarita, and then it was on the plane and back home. Seems like our trip's come to an end. Good time, we're on the plane, headed out of Miami. I got a cool hat, seatbelt sign is on. Check out my other videos from all of the adventures that we took on this trip, and we'll see you next time.